just got off work and I wanted to make this video because I was having a conversation with some of my coworkers. And what I was telling them is, in the midst of all the problems and challenges we have in the black community, I said the biggest thing the best thing we can do is change the things that we can control. There's a lot of things that we can't control. We can't necessarily control the system. Yeah, in a way we can make some changes, but those are difficult and usually take a long time. So we ought to focus on the things that we can control. And one of the things I mentioned was, and this obviously is not just black people, but it's the tendency that people have to have children before they can afford them. So basically having children really young, before you either have a job that pays you enough to afford them, or you don't have it, or before you have developed a skill set that demands the type of wage you need to support a family. So that's what I said. I said, look, one of the problems we have is we have kids too early. And it was basically like, well, and it was like, well, but people are human and they want to have families, and there's nothing wrong with having kids when you're young. I had a kid when I'm young. And I said, well, look, I understand. No one's perfect. You want to live your life and that sort of thing. But the problem is when you have kids and you can't afford them because you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old and you haven't developed the type of skills that you need. You haven't developed a skill that demands a high salary, a salary that you need to sustain a family. So what people end up doing is they have children that they aren't financially prepared to take care of, and then they turn to the government to help them. And they struggle from paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of times it's a woman who's not getting help from the father, and you live in this hard life to where you can't really give, you gotta struggle to give your kids quality things, and you're not in a position to save for their future, to set them up for the future, or to set yourself up for your own future. And then people do this, and they blame the system. They blame the white man. They blame the government. They blame oppression. They blame all this stuff. And that was my point. And they looked at me like I was crazy. This is the problem. Y'all say I'm negative? This is the problem. We don't understand the power that we have and the decisions that we make. I'm not saying that, all of the stuff that people believe contribute to the condition of the black community, like racism and systemic racism and legal system, all these different things. I'm not saying, now I don't agree with that viewpoint, but there's a lot of people who do have that viewpoint, and I understand that. That's your right. But at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control. So I use the example of the job that we work. I said, look, I said, no disrespect to obviously me or anyone that's right here in this little circle of us talking, but for all intents and purposes, what we do for a living is we stuff boxes. That's what we do. We're in packaging. We stuff boxes. Sorry if you can't see me that well, because I'm going to touch up. And I said, look, a person who stuffs boxes is easy to replace. I said again, I'm not trying to disrespect this job or anyone else, but it's easy to replace. I said, if you want job security, I said, even if this job, stuffing boxes, paid $25 an hour, you would not be secure here because you're using a skill set that's easily replaced. So I said, if you want job security, you need to develop skills that demand a higher salary. Something like, let's say, welding or some kind of specialty. Or not even if you just had, even if you had a collection of skills that weren't necessarily like really, really great, but you had so many of those skills that you can get a job in a wide variety of places, then you're setting yourself up for, you're putting yourself in a position to succeed. Doesn't mean that your life's going to be easy. Doesn't mean you're going to get a dream job. But what it means is that you're controlling what you can control, and you're doing what you can to put yourself in a position to get a job that either pays better, or because you amass certain skills, you're more likely to get hired quicker than the average person who really doesn't have any skills and who just can like sweep the floor or something like that. I'm not dissing anybody who does sweep the floor, because I do that at my job too. But my whole point is, and they were saying like, well, and then, people I was talking to, they said, well, but anyone can be replaced, and even it doesn't matter, you can always be replaced. And I said, well, look, who's harder to replace, a doctor or a person stuffing boxes? And then nobody really answered, and I'm like, well, I mean, think about it. A doctor, I said, look, and I'm not saying you're guaranteed to have this great life and this great job and income and all that stuff, but it's like, listen to the mindset. It's like it don't matter. How can it not matter whether or not you develop great skills or not? Especially when you if you're making $12,000 an hour and you're working next to a mechanic who's making $35,000 an hour, you're going to sit there and tell me that it doesn't matter if you develop special, unique skills or something like that? That's just ridiculous. And people think like this, and they wonder why they're in the situation they're in. But they blame the government. They blame white people. No, what we do is, and a lot of times we don't know any better, but what we do is, we have kids when we're young. We don't take school seriously. We have kids when we're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. And we're forced to enter the workforce before we had the time to develop special skills that will require or that would demand a better paying job than what we would get otherwise. And you wonder why, look, you have a grown person working at like McDonald's or something like that, and they got kids, and people are saying, well, they can't support their kids on that pay. Well, look, they made the decision. Not saying that you shouldn't have mercy or grace on people, but they made the decision when they were younger, for whatever reason. However we know how life happens to us. It's not always planned. But they made a choice to have a child before, they made a choice to have a child and to be forced to deal with the burden of the financial burden of parenting when they should have been owning their skills, developing a trade or something like that. Something. And it's their fault. It's our fault. I'll say our. I'll include myself. It's our fault. It doesn't mean that people in that situation shouldn't have help. But the idea of, hey, I ruined my life, someone else needs to come and fix this, is completely stupid. It's silly. That's not how life works. That's not how people grow. What you do is you make changes in your life. However, whatever stage you're in, you make the necessary changes in your life to develop those skills, or develop a business plan, or develop some kind of saving plan to prepare for your future or your kids, wherever you at. And if you can't do that, then you spend your time educating your children on how to do that, and how to not make the same mistakes you made, and how to set them, and you teach them from a young age on how not to make the same mistakes that you did that basically were self-destructive. Now, a lot of us probably think we do that already, and we probably do in terms of like drugs or sex and that sort of thing. But you got to start getting your kids when they're young, thinking about creating their own business, generating their own income, learning things that's going to be meaningful, for learning things that put them in an advanced position, so to speak, over the people in their age group who haven't learned the things that they learned. That's how you end the cycle that is in the black community. You take the children, you take yourself